merchant ships in the time of the represented by Black Seas really weren't the crewed by whoever they could find off the docks. A lot of them were crewed by very capable individuals. So let's take a look at how we could kind of tweak the merchant rules for the existing ships. Stay tuned. Alright, so welcome to today's Hedgehog Naval Academy house rule discussion. Today we're going to kind of tweak rules for merchants a bit. And there's a couple ways we're going to do this. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk exclusively here about the crew quality, but we're going to take two approaches. One, we're going to assume, instead of as is written right now, where all merchant ships are automatically inexperienced across the board, we're going to say no, they're all regular. Okay. All right. So what that would mean is for your light merchant, your small merchant ship, you're basically going to be costing it at 50 points instead of 40, because that would be the equivalent. Whereas with your larger merchant, there you're going to look at more maybe in the 110 range. Okay. Now the reason that's important is that it allows you to use that ship right out of the gate as a pirate ship. Okay, very, very traditional movie pirate ship, right? You still got the yellow turn angle and 3 knots. So that's not all that great, but you can always enhance it with a larger, or with the streamlined hull and that kind of stuff. But it also does another thing. It represents the fact that most of these merchant ships really were crewed by capable individuals. Maritime sailor is just in general, when you're dealing with merchants, they were not always just shanghaied, if you will, off the docks or pressed into service. Press gangs were not for merchant ships; those are for ships of the line and frigates and stuff like that. The ones working a merchant ship are much more skilled than just the rabble off the docks. They're going to have a good cadre of sailers to effectively sail the ship. Think of it, they need to handle bad weather. They need to be sure that the company needs to be sure that that crew is going to get the cargo from point A to point B. And an inexperienced crew is not going to do it as often. So they should be in a regular crew quality. So that's the first thing we could do. Honestly, though, we can take this one step. I'm going to call it more complicated, right? Instead of just blanketly saying, well, their crew quality is regular, let's actually recognize the fact that as sailors, yes, they were capable. As gunnery crew, not so much. So instead, you would increase the cost of a small merchant to 45 and a large merchant to 100, and you'll get a crew quality of regular for all sailing type tests. That's collisions, evasions, changing sails in various weather conditions. But when it comes to gunnery, they're inexperienced. So yeah, they're -2 to hit. That often provides you with a more realistic and yet more challenging merchant ship to face. Yes, he's not going to blow your ship out of the water, but they're not going to strike their colors as easily, which they shouldn't, because the merchants, the captain is not going to want to lose that that cargo for the company. Okay, they're likely going to be a lower number of crew on there, so a lot of these, that's why some of your hull values are lower. But they're going to be a little less likely to just surrender because there's a opponent coming at them. Of course, once you shoot them and start whittling them down, it's going to be a little quicker simply because of the stats of the ship, that they're going to have to eventually test strike colors. But again, on 5 or 6 instead of a 6, I think that's a good representation. But again, crew, they had a few guys who might know how to handle a cannon, but they wouldn't necessarily have dedicated gun crews, right? So the ones that are going to be firing the cannons are going to be a little less experienced. They're not necessarily going to be as effective. And so, boom, you've got, sorry, no pun intended, you've got a less capable fighting ship but a more capable, more maneuverable sailing ship, as it really should be. Now, if you merge this rule with the other one we talked about, where we vary the types of and stat lines of the various ships, you get a pretty interesting mix of merchant ships now, with, again, a different type of crew quality equation, and I think that's going to, in my experience, those variations are going to offer a much more colorful example of play when you're especially dealing with privateer and pirate-based scenarios. So, let me know what you think below. Let's have a good discussion here. Maybe we'll improve this house rule idea and see where we can take it. As a community, we'll make Black Seas even more fun than it already is. All right, catch you guys in the next video. See you later. Bye-bye.